Okay, guys, listen this side now, right? I need attention from all of you. Listen means you listen on the screen, not to me. Okay? Okay, now, last class, we had a loop system, right? A type of loops are here. See here, those who have missed the classes, just take a here, what is the loop system here? Some books, they write the loop system. Some, they write the loop types. So don't confuse the loop system and loop types are here, right? So number one, what we did, one was that, one is the for loop. Second was that while loop. And third, we have used the nested loop. So just give one little bit review of this one. What we had, that for loop means it do the range. So we have to define the range. For example, if I want to take the value of I, suppose I represent number of rows, suppose J represent number of columns. So in that case, so I have to define the range. How many number of points it can move, or it can take the number of iterations. In our case, in numerical techniques, it is come number of iterations. Looping systems are here. So I have to define the range here. I have to define the range here. In advanced level, this is called the index. So don't confuse. In the books, it is written that index. In most of the higher books, in advanced books, they assume that you have already knowledge of the Matlab. They write about the index. Index means range. Suppose, for example, I is moved from 0 to 1000. So it is increment with 1, 1. Because I didn't define here increment. Now, if it is I define this and this 1000, it means it is same values are here. Now, if I do this is, so it is 2 increments are there, right? Now, a thing is that if somebody asking here, what is the disadvantage of this one in the for loop? What is the disadvantage of for loop is that, for example, if I want to do the iteration technique, for example, I want to solve the ODE by using the Euler's method, modified Euler's methods, or a number of numerical methods are here. So what is the concept is that we can stop the iterations if consecutive solutions are become same. In case of Euler's and modified Euler's, or in case of RK methods are there, right? Now, how can I understand in advance that how many iterations I have to do? But in case of for loop, I don't know. Suppose I put it here, iteration is 1 to 1000. It doesn't mean that I can get the solutions accurately in 1000 iterations. It may not be. That's why we come up with the while loop. We come with the while loop. The while loop was that just define the condition. That's why we use here range. This is called a range. In advance, we write in terms of index, right? I can define index in the form of as per the situations arise in the problem. Now, in case of while loop, we talk about the expression or condition. In higher books, they write this is expression. But in a shortcut technique, this is called a condition. Not exactly expression, but condition is the subset of expression. So advanced level book in internet, they can write the expression instead of conditions. But here we have to put the condition. We have to put the condition. What is the condition? Suppose A is less than 16, higher than 16, equal to 16. These are the conditions, right? So here, suppose the value, suppose I require the error is less than 10 to the power minus 10. Then we don't know how many iterations it may take. It may take 2 hours, 3 hours, 4 hours, because it may take thousands number of iterations. But condition is that once the error is very less, 10 to the power minus 10, then it is become automatically stop. Now, in case of for loop, I cannot do that. I have to do hidden trial. How many number of iterations I have to do that? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 like this. So it is a time consuming. So we have to use now a while loop. Now come up the nested. How I can represent the nested? If somebody asking here, what is the meaning of nested? Nested means nested here inside the loop, there is a one more loop. How we can represent graphically this one? Why it is requirement here, right? So in a textbook, Matlab textbook, we can get maybe in different method, but our purpose is not doing all these things. Our purpose is Matlab plus how to solve the numerical technique, how to apply in our petroleum science. That's why I want to give the examples where it is basically used for petroleum engineers. For example, the number of books they're talking about the prime numbers, how to find out the prime numbers, right? I is equal to this and j is equal to this, then I have to divide it. If it is divisible or not, then I can identify the prime numbers. But this is just how to build up our logic, that how we can apply I and j or nested here. But our main purpose, if I'm trying to here discretize here, suppose I want to plan the discretization technique. I'm taking this example because you are already here in the numerical technique, right? You are already here in the numerical technique here, right? So suppose number of rows I have, number of rows, row number 1, row number 2, row number 3. Suppose these are the number of rows I have do. This is called a discretization, basically, right? Number of rows. Then I have discretized. This is number of columns. Number of columns. I have discretized. These are the number of columns. Okay. Now, to move in the 2 dimension, I want to move along the x-axis. I want to move along the y-axis, and it does not mean that it is a square size. It may be rectangle. It may not be square. Means the range of the I and j may not be equal. Right. So now, suppose if I want to move in the x-axis, in general, we denote by I. The some books they write N, M, N, L. These are notations are here. Yes, suppose I want to move along this. This is called the suppose J. If I move towards the right side, I am changing the columns. Yes or no? If I'm moving towards the right, means I am changing the column number 1, column number 2, column number 3 like this. If I move top to bottom, I am changing the row numbers. Row number 1, row number 2, row number 3 like this here. Now, suppose, for example, this is the location which is represent I and Z. I and Z. Right? This is represent I and Z. Now here, I have to define the for loop. What is the range of I? Right? So how it is moved inside it, because they are running simultaneously. Inside this, I have to define another for loop, which is Z. I have to define, I move along the row, I move along the columns. In that case, I have required nested. For example, how it is useful for our case, I want to give one example here. For example, I have one partial differential equation, because Euler's methods, modified Euler's, are going to solve ordinary differential equations. Now, if I want to solve partial differential equations, I have number of methods. In unit number 3 itself, we have second part is how to solve the ordinary partial differential equations. In that case, how to move I and j, it is coming in the nested form. How to form in the nested form. Now, suppose U is the function of, suppose, capillary pressure and water saturation. Right? Suppose this is the functions of capillary pressure and water saturation. Now, I want to find out the value of water saturations, and I want to find out the capillary pressures also in that particular case. For example, suppose I have discretized and I got one formula for capillary pressure. We'll discuss it in the unit number 3 in the end part. And I can get suppose water saturation, how it is changes with length, how it is changing with time, how it changes with length and how it is time in one dimension. Only one dimension. Now, if it is one dimension, for example, x-axis represents suppose length and y-axis represents suppose time. So it is dependent of time and dependent of length. So I want to find in the reservoir system how capillary pressure distributed in the reservoir system with time and length. So what is our aim as an engineer? We are not interested to display the numbers. I want only graphs. That's why after this class, I'll give brief idea of the graph system in the Matlab. After that, means I'll give the basic idea, then you can explore it. Now, if I solve it, our output will be like this. If this is length, if this is time, see, be careful that as a petroleum engineers, your experimental report, final result will be graph only. As a petroleum engineer, if you join in any oil industry, no one is going to cross-check the numbers. They are going to cross-check the graph. Is it satisfy the conditions of that particular reservoir or not? Or is it following the trend line or not? They're going to cross-check it. That's why we should have very much strong in graphical and technical language. This is called the visualization. In technical language, this is called the visualization. It may be 2D, 1D, and 3D. So how it can be done here? Now come up here. Generally, what happened? I'm not going to write this axis time. I want to represent capillary pressure because I want to do in different time. For example, 2 hours, 4 hours, 46 hours like this. Generally, the graphs become like this. In general, if your idea of reservoir engineering, the capillary pressure will decrease with the increasing length, right? At the end of this, it is become automatically 0 because there is no pressure at the end of this particular length. Now come up here. If I increase the time like this, I can get different time scale like this. Higher the time, I can get higher the capillary pressure. So I can get, suppose this is 96 hour, suppose this is 86 hour, suppose this is 32 hours, suppose 16 hours. This type of solution will come up. Now, in the Matlab, we want to do like this generally. For that purpose, I try to understand the nested loop system. Because I want to move in the both sides. One is in length, one is in time. So in this grid system, I am trying to find out the value of this point. See, where we can get the cross-section of row and column. These points are called a node, right? I want to find out the value of this only. Be careful. I want to find out the value of this, where the both lines are cross-checked. It is very much interesting, but at the beginning we become very confused. The solution should be come up here, where the two lines are intersect to each other. So I have to use here nested system, number of rows and number of columns. They are planning here, so I can get here solutions at this point. Now, how this graph is coming out? Now I have to do the interpolation. Got the point? Now I got here one value, one value, one value. These are the values. Now, how can I get this graph? I have to do the interpolations. It may be Newton forward, backwards from the interpolations. I have to do the interpolations, then only I can get this graph. Same thing. In case of nested, again I can get here water saturation and length. We can get this type of graph. Same thing, we can get the solutions at the point also. It means that I have to move left, right, top, bottom by using the nested I and Z. Now, is it clear? These three are the difference. For loop, while loop is the conditional, the loop will be terminated if the condition is satisfied. After that, it is not going to be run. It is stopped. In the case of for loop, it will run whatever you have declared. I have declared that one. Okay. Now, coming here, how to control the looping system? Otherwise, it has become uncontrollable. We have to control now. How to control now? How to control the loop? Or this is called a control statement, right? This is called a control statement. Now, how to control? Control statement or how to control the looping system, right? So we have two types of control. One is called the break statement, and second is called continue statement. One is called break statement, and what is the continue statement. So why I'm discussing this break and continuous as a petroleum engineer, very useful. In other, I don't know, I didn't use in other branches, but in our petroleum system, it is very much useful how it is work here. I'll give here some example, and you can read the documents. See, in the documents, it is written very line by line clearly, right? But I'll discuss here what they have written orally. Now come up here. For example, if we want to talk while lock system, how? Now I can use the maybe while loop, maybe for loop, maybe nested loop. It doesn't matter now. Anyhow, I can get the porosity, permeability. Accordingly, the Matlab can give automatically little of, okay, this is a limestone, right? It is a sandstone, it is a whatever it is, the little log will be designed, but we have to give our statement. Now, how to control it? How to control it? Because same algorithm is not going to be applied in different depth. For example, let us talk the sonic law. For example, sonic law is based on seismic, right? It is P and S wave, right? It is based on the seismic wave. So means generally we talk about the travel time, then we can find out the velocity. Generally we can write this. For example, suppose this is our surface, depth will be 0. Then it may move whatever it is. We have this type of signal to depth. Then we can get different little log here. There is one little log. There is some systematic notations. If it is a limestone, इसका notations क्या है? Right? If it is a sandstone, what is the notation of it? If there is a hydrocarbon, what is the notation of it? So depth-wise, for example, up to depth, this we can have notation here. Another notation, suppose we have like this. Suppose third notations we have like this. So this is called basically little log. For example, from here also, we try to find out pore pressure also. From density log, we can find out the porosity also. For example, we are trying to find out the PP. This is called a pore pressure. I want to find out here. Now, there is number of methods up here. So In case of for loop, right? For loop, I have put here range and I put here statement. What was the statement? Statement was the algorithm. Statement means algorithms. It may be Newton forward, backward. In case of processor, we talk about the Eaton's methods, modified Eaton's methods. If you have a class of geomechanics, have you heard the name? Or if you have drilling engineering subject, right? Have you drilling engineering subject now? In the semester 4 you have. In this semester I hope you have drilling. During the drilling, we should discuss all this: pore pressure, texture pressure, brush pressure, because we have to do the stable of the oil. So what are the parameters to keep the oil stable in terms of geomechanics? We should understand what is the pore pressure. We should understand what is the geostatic pressure. We should understand what is the mud weight, right? If mud weight is higher and lower, then accordingly the oil may be collapse, or maybe the fluid may be flow through the formations, collapse or maybe flexure. So we need to find out all these things. Now, below the for loop, what should I write? Suppose, for example, here, Eaton's methods, or modified Eaton's methods, or new method. This new method we have developed. This is the new methods. There is a Eaton's here. So so we have one publication where we propose the new methods. Here, what should I write? This is the equations, right? For define the range, right? Then write down the statement. Statement will be formulas. Newton forward, backward formulas, right? For interpolations, right? In case of ODE, we have to do, suppose, Taylor series methods, Picker's methods, Euler's methods, modified Euler's method can be written in this statement. After statement, what you want as the output, I have to print f. Then I have to plot it. Then for loop, I have to end it. Same thing, while loop, I can do that. Now, what about the break statement? For example, I found that after 2 kilometer to 2.5 kilometer, 2 kilometer to 2.5 kilometers, the data are not perfectly working. Maybe human error, maybe instrumental error. Now, I have Excel sheet where I have total around 10 lakhs point. Right? Now, at 2 kilometer depth and 2.5 kilometer depth, it has been found that the data is very scattered. Or it may be due to the accumulation of the hydrocarbon. When something is there, which is called the abnormal behavior. 2 kilometer and up to 2.5 kilometer, it has been observed that there is something is abnormal is coming up here. So what we'll do here, we use the continue statement. Why? Because after 2.5 kilometer, again I record the values. What the point? 2 kilometer, after 2.5 kilometer, what it has been observed that something is abnormal is happening in this particular depth. So I want to skip, but I want to continue after 2.5 kilometers. Is it okay, all of you? It has been observed that 2 kilometer up to 2.5 kilometers, the data are showing very anomalies, abnormals. In terms of petroleum science, this is called anomalies. Anomalies means we are very much interested there. It may be due to our interest. It may be hydrocarbons. There may be hydrocarbons. There may be something, some formations where it is showing the abnormal. Now, the continuous statement, what will do that? If I put these particular values, it will cut off this up to 2 kilometer and 2.5 kilometer. It is going to skip it. But after 2.5 kilometers, it again take the data point. Accordingly, the Matlab program will be run. So we control the for loop. What is the break statement? For example, after 2 kilometers, I don't want. After 2 kilometers, I don't want. So I have to break it. I have to break it. Then if I want to terminate, I have to use the break statement. But if I want to skip some of the points, then I have to use the continue statement. Now I hope it is very much clear. Then you can read this document. It is available now. You read it, that you can get better idea. Now, where I can use the break statement in our petroleum science. Same thing here in our while lock system also. I want to give one more example here. See, anyone can tell me that what is the maximum depth we observe the sedimentary rock? In the globe we have recognized maximum depth. How many kilometer? Or in meter?
They're about 8 to 9 kilometers.
Generally, on average, so on average, in the petroleum science prospect, we assume that it is up to 6 kilometers, 6,000 meters. But it is on average. So it is in normal. But if I go in some other reservoir, something may be more than 6 kilometers. Now what happened? If I take SP log or seismic data set, the data will come from 10 kilometers also, right? The data will come maybe from 9 kilometers, 7 kilometers, and 8 kilometers, or 10 kilometers also. If I do the survey, in seismic survey, but in case of oil log, because we have particular depth, so there is not coming. But in seismic survey, we can get that data up to 10 kilometers, right? So now what happened here? Because we know that beyond the 6 kilometers, if I apply the data set, interior calculation will be not working properly. So what we can do there, now terminate the data set from 6 kilometer depth. In that purpose, we use the break statement. Now I hope it is very much clear to all of you. Okay. So now here in the slide, I can share some statements. You can do that. So you can read it. But our purpose is that how to terminate data set and how to skip the points. This is our main purpose here. Okay. Now let us come up here in our statement. Look here. Break statement. Now you can read the statement, not yet. You read as a homework. What is the break statement and what is the continue statement here? Let us try to write a program here. You also write, and I'm also writing here simultaneously. But write the program very silently without disturbing to each other, right? Keep silent and write it. That we want to process that. We want to terminate here 15 onwards. If A is greater than 15, terminate means break statement here. Okay. Very simple here. Do one thing. Don't write A is equal to 10. Write A is equal to input. Write A is equal to input like this. Thus here. Thus here, A is equal to input, inverted comma, the value of A. Okay. The value of A. Now apply the while loop or for loop as per the requirement here, right? We apply here a while loop. While A is less than 20. Okay. Now print F. Now we want to print this A, right? F print F. The value of A. The value of A percentage D plus N, comma A. If there is something missing, then it is not going to be displayed here, right? I have to here inverted comma. I don't want to display here, so I have put it here semicolon, right? Now, this is the statement. If I put here semicolon, it is not going to display. Now write down the condition, because I want to break. If A is greater than 15, right? If A is greater than 15, so I don't want. Let's look here. Let's look here. If A is greater than 15, break. Immediately, I have to end the if condition. Okay? Now come up here. If condition. Apply the if condition. If A is greater than 15, then break it. Immediately end it, and I have to end it. Now, look here. This is very much important. We need to note down with an F print F syntax. And this is our formula. A is equal to A plus 1, our formula. In our case, it has become numerical methods formulas. And this is our conditional statement. Now, what was the disadvantage of if condition? It can take the value if the statement is correct. Right? If the statement is correct, then it will take. If false, if condition is not taking the result here. Now I have to break here, then I have to get and I have to get. What should be the expected answer here? What is the expected answer here? Yes, if I input 10, then it is become up to 15. Because if A is greater than 15, the break is now activated. What the point? Same thing here. Same thing here. In the case of our system, maybe drilling system, maybe reservoir system, I found that if there is small mistake, it is not going to be run. Just look here. If there is small mistake, it is not going to be run. Okay, now, those who are getting difficulties, just follow my lines. I am typing here. Equal to input got it? A is equal to input the value of A. Done. Second line. While A is less than 20. Because while is there conditional looping system, right? F print F. What is this? Here, the value of A. The value of A, percentage D, then slash N, comma. Got? Next comma. Suppose A is equal to A plus 1 F print F. Okay. A is equal to A plus 1, which is Kona's statement, which is the formulas. Okay. Now next after that, if I want to break, see, I know that if I have the little log of the reservoir, I can get in which depth what type of formation we have. If it is limestone, I have this much porosity. Sandstone, I have this much porosity. If it is this, I have. So use the if. If A is greater than 15, suppose. If A is greater than 15, then break it, break, then end it, then end it. Which one? We can also put here. Yes. Okay. Okay. Is it okay, all of you? Now, if I save it in the desktop, suppose it is test 1. Okay. Now, if I try to run it, Here, why it is asking that? Sense folder, add to part, sometimes it is showing what? Because Matlab sometimes, if it is not in his or her directory, so the link is not coming execute directly. So I have two options. Very simple is that just edit. Then the breeze up is. Now if I edit, it means what? Whatever you have put in your file, this part has been added to the Matlab where it is. Now if it is, I put here 10, I displayed up to 15. If it is greater than 15, it is terminated. Now, this logic is not to do by putting a is equal to 516. This logic is that I want to input the Excel sheet where there is a caliber log, where there is a density log, where there is a resistivity log. And I have the little log of the known reservoir. In particular depth, we have idea there is a sandstone, limestone here. After that, as a petroleum engineer, I expect that what is the range of the sandstone? I can get a porosity in terms of percentage. What is the range of the sand? What is the range of the limestone? This should be in your blood as a petroleum engineer. Some are talking that if I know the range, then I can use the brake. If this brake, I can get yes, then if brake means it is terminated. Now after 2 kilometers, again I found that there is a limestone and I have to use the continue. Then the petrol, you can get very nice litholog by inputting the Excel sheet, but you don't know what is happening inside. Same thing we do in the Matlab, we can do that. If I do the programming language, I don't want to buy 10 crores the petrol, right? We have the capacity there, make the programming language. Now use the break and continuous, continue. I want to skip some point, I want to continue it. Here the break means it is going to break it. So at present we're discussing it, but in the upcoming practical class, we have to apply it logically, how it can be done here. Now, if I come in the next year, now, continuous statement, if I read the Matlab books, I can get 2 pages number of explanation. I have brought up here, which is very shortcut technique. I have prepared here that you can understand directly. Same thing here, there, continue was there. I have to skip some points. Yes or no? Break means I have to terminate. Continue means I have to skip some points. Why it is? In case of logging system, I found that in 2 kilometer to 2.5 kilometer, there is a limestone. There are a number of points are coming there. The porosity is the out of the range. So I have to skip all these points. Otherwise, our analysis is not going to be worked properly. I hope it is clear, all of you. Now, first input the value of A. Instead of this, once you become expert, we import Excel sheet. I'll bring my scholar. We did the same thing there. Depth-wise, we can get a little log, right? You can do the more interaction after getting the clearance of for loop, while loop, break statement, and continue statement. If you are clear that, we can apply it. Now, while, just put inside the bracket here, they're not putting while, because it is more safe if I write while inside the bracket. if A is equal to, it is more safe if I write A double is equal, because in the Matlab language, equal was double equal. But the program will be run if I write A is equal to 15 or 20 also. But for safer side, use the logical conditions or operations that equal was double equal. Don't confuse that. In this book, they write A equal this. Here it is written A equal this. Why it is that? Our recognition of the Matlab is A is equal to, if I want to write in the machine language, it is A double equal. Okay. Don't copy paste this one. Try to understand this one. While A is less than 20, and if A is equal to 15, see, second line is percentage. This signifies the comments. If I write this, I write the continue, it is going to skip the value of A while it is 15. For example, in 2 kilometer to 2.5 kilometer, suppose I found that the porosity is abnormal. Right? What I can do that, if the porosity is equal to this, skip all the values. So kya hoga? Then our programming will give more accurate answer because we are skipping our abnormal points. It is very much important. So I'll try to deploy completely our class in the petroleum prospect, whatever possible, though it is not some in syllabus. In syllabus it is not written, but my intention is that at least you can apply. So don't copy paste this everything here. And at the last, I have to again write A plus 1 because I have to again continue the previous one. Look here, continue, end means this end is only for this continue. Okay, and this if, this end is this for a while. Just take your time and don't try to copy paste directly. Otherwise, it is, you make it very good grade, but copy pasting, but very, very difficult in the reality it is to apply. First, input while this output will be, they are skipping only 15. We can get all the values which is less than 20, but they're skipping only 15. So here A is equal to input enter the value of A. Okay. Well, A is less than 20. Sometimes you write without bracket also. Okay. Sorry. Yes, input while this. What is the next? Tell me. Now, if I write if, some books they may write only single equal, but I recommend write a double equal because equal syntax is double equal in this 15. A is equal to A plus 1. I have to write here continue. After that, and after that, what to do? Print F. Now, F print F. The value of A percentage D close here. A is equal to A plus 1 and have you got answers? Have you got answers? See here, I have if, I have while, I have continue. So for if and for while, I have to answer here, right? Now, those who are getting difficulties, let us go here, new script here. From the last rows, any difficulties? Any difficulties? I want these fundamentals very clear.
Sir, hello, sir.
And F print F, the value of A percentage D slash N, comma, A is 1, A to A plus 1. Okay, is it okay? Which one?
Yes, sir.
F in F, this one? It can be displayed or undisplayed, does not matter, right? So I don't want this one. It's only displayed, right? Now test 2. Test 2 here. So output is without 15. Got? Output is without 15. Okay. Now I assume that now we are basic is clear now, looping system. Let us come up in the how to plot different type of figures. How to make the figure as per our requirements. Say, I can create here different type of graph, maybe log system, semi-log, maybe log-log, maybe normal. I can plot the phi diagram, I can plot the histogram, I can plot the bar diagram, everything here. But I cannot do everything. I can just put you, this is a basic one, and you can search everything here. Now come up here. Okay. Let us start plotting system. I hope all of you can understood. Just try to it. Just make it in the script, not in the command window. I did it is in command window. What is the value of x here? 0 to how much? 2 into 5 means how much? 360. 5 into 5. 2 into 5. Okay? 360. When increment is 0.1. Just try to plot it. This pi means pi, right? Pi. Just try to plot it. It is very beginning level. I'll come one by one, one by one. What are the difficult things here? Just like this. Define x is equal to 0, increment is 0.1 to 2 into pi. Y is equal to sine x, right? Don't display it, otherwise it requires time. Now plot it x comma y. Can I get now? It is very fundamental. See, be careful here. If I put first, this is the x-axis. If I put second, this is take the y-axis. It's very much important. You'll take x-axis and you'll take y-axis. Now, Save it. Suppose test 3. Run it. Okay. In this particular program, I don't want to display anything. I need only graph. Same thing in our experimentation also. I don't want to see the values. I need the graphs only. Okay. Now come up. Now look here. Next. We'll come one by one. The basic we started. Now try to write this one. This one. After that, here R signify red color, G signify green color here. So if you have notebook, note down here because we are not able to remember everything. R signify red and graph will be with star, star, star. Z will be green. It is not a smooth line, it is a plus, plus, plus will come up here. So instead of fourth line, skip the fourth line and write down the last line. Instead of fourth line, write the last one. R means, suppose I want the graph in the red color. Just write down R is red. Z means green. The star means it is not a solid line, it is a star line. Look here. Here, R signify red. I will write with red here. R signify red. Now, your graph will be like this. Got the point? Your graph will be like this. We'll do that. Z will be green. Star, it is plus. This will be plus, plus, plus. Yes. Yes. So, write a program now. Write a program now. See, just skip this fourth line. I don't want the fourth line. I only first line, second line, and third line, and this last line. I don't want this because there is no new thing here. It's very simple. Like this. X is equal to, same thing, take 0 to 0.1, 2 into 5. Y is equal to sine X, don't disclose anyone. Y1 is equal to, it is your choice. If you want to put Y2 LMN. Okay? Now plot it. comma y, comma, inverted comma, r, star, inverted comma, then it is plot xy. Next, x, comma, y1, comma, green, plus, inverted comma, close it. Next step is that I want to put x-axis, name of the x-axis. I want to put name of the y-axis. I want to put the star is sine graph, plus is cos graph. Without doing anything in the programming language, I want to do that. Have you got the figures? Is it coming? Very good. Now, those who are getting difficulties, just follow me. I need all of you. I am not running from here and there, but once become complete on offline, on 14 March onwards, then I'll move from here there. Okay? Okay. Now those who are getting difficulties, just look here. I'm going to write the programming. X, comma, y, comma, inverted comma, r signify this, put down a star, close it, comma it, x, comma, y1, comma it, this, green, I put this is plus, and this. Got it? Now save it. Test 4. Have you seen here figures? Have you seen my figure? See, now I have just given small example. Now I can only remember R is red, G is green. There is total 7 colors. Blue, I think B is the blue, I don't know. Right? Now, red is become star, green become plus because I put it the plus. Now try to put instead of star, put dot dot. If I just put only one line, it becomes solid line. So now, our next target is, I want to write x-axis, y-axis, and I want to write green is sine function, means cos function, and red is sine functions. Everything can be done. But I can just keep the basic one in the experiment. I want this type of proper graph, and that time I'm not going to explain. I hope all of you got these figures. So it is very simple figure. Now come up with the next program, which is very much important for all of us. Now, please come up this one now. Very much important. We require to remember this one. Okay. All of you listen this side. First column represent our Matlab command. Second column represent the description. Plot means it creates the figure. See here, figure. So file name cannot be figure because we have here syntax. The file names cannot be plot because we have here inbuilt function. What is the meaning of the figure? Define a new figure plot window. See here. Suppose I want to plot two different figures in different two windows. Suppose sine in one window and cos in second window. So I have to use the figure. Syntax figure. Second line is talking figure. Figure, what is the function of figure? If I type in the second line figure, it split the two figure two different windows. One window only show the sine, second will show only the cos. Now, how it is important? Listen this side. Suppose in our figures, I have figures for caliber log, I have figures for SP log, I have figures for 10 different type of log system in one single file. In one single figure file, I want to split in the 10 different windows. Why it is? Because I want to analyze the variation of the porosity, for example. Now obviously then I have to take the density or porosity log. Now if I want to see the variation of the travel time or velocity, out of 10 figures, I have to split the figure which is representing the travel time or velocity. So figure is important. If in single figure there is 10 figures, I can split it in 10 different windows. Third is the grid points. If I want to put the grid lines in the figure, see what we do in the high school level, we have plotted in the graphs. Now I want to put the grid lines, minor lines, major lines. Next is title. How to put the title? Suppose I want to write sine graph, cos graph. What is the name of the figure? Title. Second, X level. The X level, I have to write X level. Means, what is the variable in the X axis? Y level. What is the variable in Y axis? Next is axis. What is the limit of the axis? 0 to 100 or 5 to 10. So I have put the range of the x-axis, I can put the range of the y-axis. Next we come hold on and hold off. Very much important. Sometimes suppose I don't want to plot one figure. Right? I don't want to plot one figure, I can hold it. I don't want to plot one figure, hold it, but I want to plot the rest of the figures. Next we come legend. This is the porosity graph. This is the permeability graph. This is the viscosity graph. I want to give the legends. Third is the subplot. Very much important. Suppose in a single window, I want to plot 100 graphs. In a single figure, I want to plot 9 graphs, means I have to divide 3 by 3 matrix. If it is 3 by 3 matrix, I have 9 graphs. It means that 9 graphs can be repeated 3 rows and 3 columns. So these three are very much important. How we can get the plot, diagram, grid, title, level, x-axis, hall off, hall on, legend, and sum plot. Done? Legend is very much important. See, in case of legend, suppose in single figure, for example, I want to write here, I want to show this figure. In this figure, if someone submit this figure, then I'll throw out it. I don't know. Green is what, red is what. There should be proper graph. In the experimental in journal, if you submit like this, I put big 0. This graph doesn't have any meaning. I have to label systematically. X-axis represents what? So I have to use X level. What is the y-axis? I have to write y level. Means in the y level, inverted comma, write down value of depth. Y level, write down the porosity like this. Now here, The legend represents that. Suppose star red is porosity, right? Plus green is permeability. So in the legend, I can type there. So I'll do one by one. It means that I don't have to do nothing. Just make one programming. That's why the petrol same thing. Excel sheet daldo, you can get the output. Matlab, input the Excel sheet, I can get the solutions in terms of graphs. I don't want to see the numbers. See here, if I want to find out the flow rate of the fluid in the porous media, I don't want to see the number. I want to see only graphs. Where the velocity of the fluid is decreasing and increasing, why it is. Depth versus velocity of the fluid. I don't want to see the numbers. I want only graphs are here. So, what we can do that, today, I want to stop here only, because some of your faces are not looking now. You can continue, right? But we need to do that. Once become it is offline, 2 hours means 2 hours. Once become it is offline class, 2 hours means 2 hours. Again, I will also suggest, before coming 2 hours class, please go in the washroom properly and come. Means I am not going to allow in between it, because 2 to 4, before coming lab, go the washroom, make freshness, everything, and come in the classroom. I don't want to go here and there in between the classes. But today I'm very happy that no one is doing washroom today during the 2 hours, because it is disturbance.
Thank you, sir.
So once it is offline, all the system becomes systematic. You can enjoy, I can enjoy, but the strictness become increasing. Whatever you are seeing me, I'm very soft everything now. Once become offline, I also become strict, because I have to control physically now. Subplot will continue next class, because it requires lots of discussion. It requires 1 hour. Example we will do next class. See here. Just I want 5 minutes more. Just listen this side. If I write like this, right? Subplot M N P. This represent row. This represent column. This represent position. For example, if I have total 4 figures, I have 4 figures. I want to put here figure number 1, then I have to put here 1. This is 2, location 2. It moves left to right. Left to right. It is not coming like this. P is equal to 1 means first figure. 2 means second figure. Third, it can become here like this. So it is third figure, it is fourth figure. Now, what is M? Number of rows. Here, in our case, M is equal to 2. What is here? N means number of column. It is also 2. So next class we'll discuss systematically here, where I have to put the figures. So 100 figures I can put here. Then also we can speed up it. Okay then? Okay? Okay then today we'll stop here.